Hi, Dav here, and today we have a new episode in the Art Review series, and today we'll be checking out the work of Calum Alexander Watt. Now, I actually found this guy way back, I think on Pinterest, and I remember seeing their alien xenomorph. I'm not sure if they worked on the film or if it's fan art, but they did this bunch of characters from that show or movie or franchise. And I just like the way it was presented. It looked very clean. And I think that's something you can't expect from Calum over here. Oh, let me just go to their art station because I think it's a lot more. Uh, Before that, in their Instagram, they do have this thing where they they're fairly organized with how they post. Because they do it by threes, so they're trying to match Instagram sort of profile or layout, which is fine. But I think most people don't do this because it's hard to keep up with. But I think Calum is fairly pretty much consistent with how they do this. Like each column or row is dedicated towards one kind of theme or project, and they're pretty consistent. For example, you have like a batch of videos here. Wait, let me just see how they draw. Because, oh shit, so they draw with a tablet, a pen display rather. And I'm not sure what they're using here, but it looks, I think it's Sketchbook, Autodesk maybe. But it's fairly big. You know, most people don't. Well, I won't say that. Some people like to draw like zoomed out. Some people like to draw sort of zoomed in like this. There are advantages and disadvantages to both. But I think for me, what I was missing out in my own like process is zooming in, and I think that there is something to gain from that. I don't know, like you feel more like you're in the piece, right? Or with your like illustration, drawing, painting. Because when you're always zoomed out, it feels like you're sort of too far away sometimes. So, oh yeah, I think it was these ones. I'm not sure if it's like legit concept art for the film or game, but I do like uh the presentation style. Fairly clean. It almost looks like it was drawn with one of those G-Tech gel pens. Um, but when you look at the coloring, it's very basic, like just a bunch of flats. But even though the process itself seems simple, it still looks unique. Like the way the characters are drawn, it's semi-realistic, I would say. Um, I like how some parts have a little more bleed, and then let me just zoom in. Wait, let me just pause the video because I have like an open tab here that's to reveal it. Give me a second. I'm back. I basically had my Amazon open. Sorry. So let's zoom in here. Yeah. Yeah, I do know I'm not sure if it's like a detail thing, but there are like some black spots here. Like they remind me of those natural bleeds that happen when you draw with like a gel pen or something, or maybe if the paper you're drawing on is kind of thin. It does give off that sort of tech um vibe. Like you will see these types of visual looks in terms of the inks and like architectural drawings, interior design drawings, even product design drawings. You know, they like using like really fine, thin pens to illustrate. And if you look at the ink work, it's not pointed. Like I think they're using just a basic. Oh shit! Sorry, there is a little bit, but the point is, I don't see a lot of line weight variety. All I see is like either the thin lines, right, the contour lines, or you have like these black spots. Let me just show you, like these black spots along with the actual lines. Like these are the two main sort of contrasting things. And look at the shadow here. They could have just added a flat color without the line, but they did sort of draw out the edge of that shadow over here. It looks good. I've seen a bunch of like anime artists do this too. It does have a more graphic look, right? But I think it works. I do like the proportions of the face. Very again, It's more on the realistic side. Uh, but it's interesting again because it's just the inks and then the flats, but it's still sort of iconic. And you can kind of tell it's Calum's art. It reminds me of another artist, big name artist, named Moebius. I know he has like a real name, but Moebius is like his pen name for like I associate Moebius with the sci-fi sort of illustrations or concepts or artworks, but he has a different name. I think his real name. I forgot, but famous guy. Like these types of illustrations with the flat colors and the fine sort of ink remind me a lot of Moebius's work. So Callum here does have some illustrations where it's a bit more painted, but if you look at it, it's still like the ink is there. Yeah, this one does have a little bit of a line weight variety, like the ink points sort of tip to a point, and in some parts it's a bit thick, so it's very sensitive to the pen pressure. But it's also colored. There is some painting underneath, but it's not too much that it's um, designed to basically overwhelm or uh, remove the lines. It's supposed to complement it. It's almost like a one of those Copic marker, alcohol based marker sketches or illustrations, where they do like to leave in the well, not like it's um, the look is you have some solid lines and then you have this sort of transparent, washy, almost like a watercolor like look to render the piece. And in this way, the edges are very clear because everything is sort of lined out or lined in or lined. Shit. And you have like some proper segmentation of what color this is, some texturizing, right? Pretty cool. Although for the ink work, it's a bit more brushy and not as like tight as these ones over here. Uh, Pretty cool, right? It's almost like they're painting or drawing with a very thin brush pen for the ink work, and yeah, so they have a bunch of styles, I guess. Maybe it's project based, who knows? Um, but if you average it all out, it's fairly. They have tight designs. Clearly, a designer. They do character art, environmental art. This is kind of cool. It reminds me of one of those those microscopic. I forgot what they're called, but they're very small creatures. Bacteria. I don't know, but they look like these, where it's so freaking like six legs, I believe. Um, but yeah, I just like the concepts. It looks so freaking. Oh, it's from Ant-Man. Maybe he does like this is official art. Maybe who knows? Um, it's so cool because when you're world building, you want to make it look real, and I think you have to be a little, as much as you need to be creative, right, and imaginative. You need some kind of technical skill to make your designs believable. So you need to have. You can't be just too sketchy or impressionistic, which I tend to naturally default to. But like, it's not even that detailed, right? Ugh, I'm coping, but it's like they just know where to add the right or when to add enough details. It reminds me of another artist named uh Greg Tocchini. Oh, let me just write these people's names down because uh especially the I'm trying to find especially the Low series LOW. Like the way Greg Tocchini drew like that whole world, even though the lines are like gestural, it feels so believable. So there has to be something there, like some kind of a secret ingredient that can make your drawings look touchy, believable. Moebius. There you go. I'm just writing the names down. Sorry. Yeah, pretty cool. Um, so some building concepts maybe. Let me zoom in. So yeah, they're flat, but there's a bit of a wash, you can tell, or a gradient. It's a very minimal way of rendering, but it's so convincing. Or it's, well, yeah, it's convincing. Like you don't doubt what it is, right? For example, you can tell that this sort of greens here, in the interiors are in the interiors just because it's darker, right? You don't need much to sort of give a sense of volume. I think we've talked about this in past art reviews. If you just add even just one wash, right? Like one gradient in like a flat sort of space, it makes it look more 3D. Like you don't need much. Obviously, the more values you add, the more shadows you add, the more highlights you add, the more you'll understand the volume of it. But if you just add one wash, it just makes it look less flat. Kind of like this, right? It's clearly just one chunk of orange, but you add like a gradient that goes from dark to light, right? And it's, it adds a bit of, oh, like mystique or atmosphere. Um, but yeah, pretty cool. These ones are different. There are some lines, but it's mostly like shape heavy. Very, very cool. So it's a different sort of style approach, but it's still clearly them, right? I love the signature here, Cal. Um, and I guess they're using a basic round brush for this, right? It does have some pen pressure, so it gives off that very organic look. Um, Now this could be actually, I'm guessing this could be mistaken for some AI, just because of how clean and fluid it looks. So yeah, it's super cool to look at, right? And they did limit themselves to not just the technique, right? Hard round brush only. All of it is opaque. They're not building up uh the the painting or illustration with brushes that have opacity. It's just very direct, and it saves time when you do this. I know a couple of artists who have this technique. I forgot their name. I know one guy from, like, he's often featured in the Proco channel. I think he's a concept artist, and he kind of draws this way as well. Draws or paints this way as well. Um, I forgot his name though. Sadly. Oh, maybe Patrick. Was it Patrick Sweeney? I think it's something Sweeney, because he also has this technique where he paints. Hopefully, I'm saying the name right. Patrick Sweeney. Sweeney. Where he sketches things with like hard brushes, kind of like this. And it's so cool. You know what? Fuck it. Like for these mechas, I would recommend the work of maybe Zak Foreman as well. Zak Foreman. Super cool. Very fluid design. And they look like they're part of the same sort of world. Not just design wise, shape language wise, but because of the same techniques being used, the same color palette being used, it's gonna look more like cohesive. So the more things they have in common, the more cohesive obviously it is going to be. Oh, so we can see like its interior skeleton. Look at that. So hot. Yeah, but again, even though the style or approach technique is a bit different, it's still there. Like the shape language is very Cal-esque. So we have some mechas here, but again, they have all of it has that sort of clean kind of look, but it still looks like a drawing, which I do like. The more crab mechas. Oh, they're adding a bit of an outline, a yellow outline for the whole piece or throughout the silhouette. Like if you have a clean silhouette, that's a good sign of a very clean design, right? If there's no doubt with the silhouette, like the overall shape, that's a good big step to having something that's complete. right? Like, is it that detailed? I don't even think so. I mean, there is enough detail. So a strong silhouette plus just the right amount of details is enough to get this not just believable, but aesthetically pleasing design, right? Very cool. Like most of this is like in shadow, or you have a lot of like shadowed or black parts here, but it's very, I think they're focused more on like sci-fi-esque art. So this one does have quite a bit of narrative there. Like it's a cool sort of shot. Again, I'm glad or I'm very impressed with how they're organized, especially on Instagram. You know, limiting yourself to like 3 posts at a time to convey like one image or one theme. Pretty cool. These types of drawings especially give off those Moebius story vibes. Look at the way the birds were drawn. Not much detail. It's like the shapes are just so freaking clear. Everything here, you don't even see the feathers. It's like one big silhouette of the underside of the wing. Um, and even for like this actual, like you don't see the light part of the beak, the main body, the legs. You only really see it on the wings. Or maybe that's the actual color, who knows, but they're not over, like sometimes they don't even have like a highlight or something, or a shadow even. Like they're very minimal with how they uh that's a cool sort of ray. It's a flying ray. Ah, it's so cool. So they have like a bionic, it's like it's mechanized, but it's organic kind of mecha. Think Evangelion, um, where they sort of they have an organic vibe to it. Maybe I would recommend the work of Thomas Istepanyan. I think it's a French dude, artist. Thomas is oh shit. Istepanyan. And maybe Nivanh Chanthara. Nivana fuck. Nivana Chanthara. They have a lot of although they focus a lot on like like creatures, they have that mix of like mecha and animalistic sort of forms. So oh, these are so cool. Oh, right? No shadows. It's just the ink work and the flats, but it's so organic and it looks hand drawn. You know, there is some. I'm seeing some slight bit of line weight variety. Some lines are thicker, some lines are thinner a little bit. Or you have like some bleed points here and there where the ink seems to like gather a little more. It gives off again that sort of natural like drawn with a gel pen or something vibe. I like it. And again, they're not overwhelming the piece with the. I mean, there's clearly some detail, but again, you have a lot of areas where it's just like open space or a lot of resting areas, right? So it's gonna be easy for your eye to just like it's more enjoyable actually to even see the details when you have patches of, for example, for this area of her like robe or something, a big open space over here, right? Because of this, and you contrast that with the thing in the back, sort of the underside interiors of this mecha thing. It's like you have like a balance there. Like it's easy to consume this sort of amount of detail, right? When you have like visual breaks, I guess. Again, same thing here. Um, they're sticking to one color palette. Oh, are those centipedes? Christ. I'm not a fan of bugs, but a very cool head design there. So it's not just again the technique. It's not just the color palette. It's also the shape language. Whether it's the umbrella, their helmets, their bags, the mechas, it's all so freaking cool and consistent. Right? Maybe I'm not sure if they have like I'm guessing they have a quick rough in the beginning and then they start doing the inks. Because this thing seems kind of planned out and like it's just clean. So, oh, I think they're using a Autodesk, the sketchbook sort of app. Oh, I think it's called Autodesk Sketchbook. It's very common. It's a common app for like designers, like product designers usually. But the brush is they are limited to. I'm guessing they have a set amount of brushes there. I'm not sure if you can customize the brushes. I'm not sure, but um, maybe the program will influence the way you draw or paint. Because that's my experience with like Photoshop, like how I paint in Photoshop and Clip Studio Paint. They're very different. Well, not very different, but it's enough that I notice I create images differently with these two different programs. This one's more of a close up. Yeah, very future. Oh, the top of that hat feels very sus. Yamete. Oh, I like this one too. So cool. Yeah, they have stuff like this too, where they do render it a bit, but they still like to leave in some ink work there. But yeah, when they do render stuff or create images in this sort of fashion, their inks are not as like tight like these. It's more like there's some gaps in between, kind of like this. Like it's number one, yeah, there are some gaps, so it's not meant to be. It doesn't have like a tech pen kind of look. It's almost like it was drawn with a very thin brush pen. And I think this kind of look does fit in well with more. If you're planning to render your stuff in this kind of way, or painter, or do some kind of underpainting, I think it fits best for that kind of look. Oh, nice hands here. Like you was oh, nice feet. Um, you will see this a lot in like you know those. I think in the product design world, they're very techy with how they. I mean, there are some concept designs or sketches or illustration that are, very sort of loose and abstract. You have that on one end, but you have on the other end stuff like these where it's very sort of meticulous and clean. Like it's focused on the product mainly. It reminds me of an anime, near not Automata, but Noir, Noir or something. It's a mecha anime. Oh God, I'm forgetting the name, but it's a. I think they had 2 seasons, but I loved the designs for the look. Very futuristic esque. But these ones are a lot more painted. Like you don't even see the line work anymore. Oh, you do. There is some line work, but it's fairly blended, or it looks you can't know you don't notice it, fuck, from afar, because I think the underpainting is very well like rendered or painted. So in the background though, it's a lot more like painted with no line work. It's more about it's just a backdrop, right? It looks like a Star Wars kind of concept art. Who knows? Like an assassin type of concept. Wait, maybe it is Star Wars. Very cool. Oh, this one's kind of cool. I like it. I know another artist that paints this way. Richard Anderson or Flaptraps. I'll write your name though. Richard Anderson. Richard Anderson. or Flaptraps, Flaptraps. I think there's an S there. Who knows? Yeah, it's sort of a mixed approach where you have some brushy strokes and then you have some more line strokes. Uh, yeah, so Cal here has some diversity when it comes to styles. Like they can go the painterly route if they want to. Um, Reminds me a little bit of Syd Mead too. Like the color choices. Maybe it's because of the Star Wars world. Oh, I'm forgetting like the original, like the main concept artist for the film. Like they used to do this like in gouache or something. He's sort of he's a big name artist in the level of Syd Mead. My God. And he did a big chunk of the Star Wars concept art. Let me just type Syd Mead. Uh, I think it starts with T. Thomas. Fuck. But yeah. Oh. Wow. Flying sort of plant or centipede crustacean life. Yeah, I think this is Star Wars based on like the because I've seen this guy before. The long head sort of guy. Pretty cool. Oh, beautiful cat here. Meow. So that's it for this art review of Cal. They have a bunch more here, but as you can see, they have quite a bit of a range when it comes to their style. They can go for just inks only with a bunch of flats, something a little more painterly. But I think for most of their work, they will always try to find like it's clean. Even if it's painterly, kind of like this, it's but this one is a little more impressionistic, which I do like. There's a lot of clarity. Like you're not guessing what the design is. So if you're into like designing stuff, if you're more designer than say illustrator, I think Kyle is a good person to study. Oh, very smart with the covering of the pen. And it's not like they're not dumping so much information too, like in detail, but they have enough that it makes the design kind of convincing. This one's very very impressive. Can I see this? A lot more rendered. It looks like sorry, it looks like one of those illustrations for those like nature books. Because some of them provide photos, but I think photos can be a bit boring. It's nice or cooler if they're kind of illustrated this way. Like even the shadow of this like thing in the back is sort of being casted on the top of this crustacean thingy. So freaking cool. And they're painting with or rendering it with Autodesk sketchbook something. Very impressive. Come on. Oh, nice feet. Anyway, that's it for this art review of Cal. Super cool guy. Artist. I'll try to name all the artists that are kind of similar to Cal in the description below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Oh, he was featured in one of the. Oh, that's so cool to be featured in like the credit scene of like a film or something. So cool. So congrats to Cal. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.